I would like to ask that we remove the proposed minutes from the consent agenda for discussion.
Okay. Do you have to move to that, or you just do it?
Just ask.
You just ask.
Yeah.
You just do
I
it.
asked.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll take them off. Yes.
Okay.
And do you want to talk about it?
Yes, I
Why
do.
your reasoning?
Yes,
All
I
right.
do. First, I want to point out that what I am about to say is not in any way meant to be a criticism of our recording secretary, Laura Simpson, who does a fine job as recording secretary. This is a board policy issue. Comments from citizens should not be summarized without actually noting the content of the speaker's comments. For example, the minutes from the January 28th meeting indicated that Brian Buckley noted that all people should be respectful, and he thanked the board. A cursory glance at the video would certainly show otherwise. Dr. Hammering noted in his public comments that he did not see that verbiage at any point when he reviewed the February 11th, 2025 video 3 times. He stated that Mr. Buckley had verbally attacked the residents who had organized against the racetrack and called them a mob. I believe our minutes should have reflected these comments. The content of citizen comments has been a contentious issue for a very long time. I am curious to know at which point in time this board started noting and summarizing actual comments in a matter that is not necessarily consistent with the actual verbiage. For instance, the minutes of February 11th, 2025 should show Dr. Howard Hammering specifically expressed concern over the $22,000 donation from Grassroots Midwest to the Progress Plymouth PAC, the subsequent $18,000 donation to Kurt Heisey for supervisor, and $3,000 to elect trustee Jennifer Buckley. He noted the 4 existing board members who contributed to and received campaign donations from it, and noted that only Supervisor Kermey, Trustee Stewart, and Trustee Groth were not a part of this PAC or any of the money that was received or dispersed. Dr. Hammering also expressed concerns over the additional $20,000 in contributions from other individuals and companies, some of whom had resolutions before this board. He expressed concerns over what he perceived to be a political hatchet job on the part of those involved in the Sprayscape controversy, to include comments posted on social media, and he said the board should focus on citizen concerns, the cost of the Northville Downs racetrack lawsuit, police and fire department public safety services, efficient EMS services, and controlled development consistent with the master plan. Mrs. Mary Pine called for an end to the drama and immature games at the board meetings from Clerk Borba and Trustee Buckley concerning the Sprayscape and this distorted social media postings. She thanked Supervisor Kermey for being prudent with tax dollars and looking for a sensible solution. She noted that other residents have thanked residents against the racetrack. She also expressed concerns about the lack of transparency, accountability, and emphasis on employees' constitutional rights versus their responsibilities within the clerk's office, about the denial of improper handling of their rear-ending accident by the current fire chief, about no response from the previous fire chief concerning the care at that accident, and about the lack of response to daytime knocking at the fire station by a resident having a heart attack. She thanked those in the township who are sincerely doing their jobs. Mr. David Mashney reminded us that this is America, and he has been in this country for 63 years. He has traveled all over the world and stated the United States is the best country in the world. He also stated that we live in one of the best cities in the world, and he shamed members of the board who attack citizens and act like kids when they don't like what citizens say. I would like to ask that the discussion of public comments and subsequent minutes be added to the agenda for the next board meeting on March 11th, 2025, so the board has an opportunity to consider this matter and come prepared to speak at that time so that we can establish a policy. I would also like for my objections to the minutes to become a part of the written record of this meeting.
So noted, your objections will be noted.
Thank you.
And historically, we don't do a verbatim,
Not a transcript.
pardon?
It's not a
It's not a
transcript.
transcript, it's not verbatim. We have historically done summaries. For us to write down every single word will cost the township a lot of money when already it's on videotape.
Not
People-
everyone sees videotapes, excuse me.
I'm just saying that there is a record for people to see the verbatim discussions that are held in this board. And for us to sit down in a dictation fashion, to do that like a court recording, first of all, we probably wouldn't be able to meet the 8-day requirement that we have of posting the proposed minutes. It's just going to take days and days and hours to do this, when a summary has always been sufficient. This board has talked about this in the past, I know they have.
Technically, minutes, you just record public comments were spoken. You don't
Yes.
have to.
You don't have to
Put
do
more
it.
detail. I
It is a
agree.
board policy decision.
I agree that if there's an inaccuracy, it should be corrected, but we can't have it. It's not a transcription.
And I didn't ask for verbatim comments. I asked for summaries that reflect the content of the comments. These citizens and everyone in this township takes the time to sit down, prepare their statements and concerns, and it takes tremendous courage to stand before a group of people and speak. And if someone can speak, their comments need to be noted. I'm not talking about attacks. I'm not talking about denigrations. I'm talking about 5 years from now, someone may look at the minutes and say, wow, 5 years ago, citizens were concerned about these particular issues. That might compel them to come to the clerk's office and see the minutes. It may not, but the point is, the minutes reflect no actual contact of comments.
So how do we resolve this? Because we're not going to resolve it here tonight.
No, but here's a solution, and it's something that we've always done, Mr. Supervisor and Trustee Groth, is if someone wants something to be of record, they can hand us the writing, and we'll include it in the minutes. We've always done that.
Which is great, but they don't know that. That's my point.
We've done it before. People have given me this stuff, and I've made it part of the minutes. So if people want to come and make a statement and hand me something and say, I'd like this to be the record, I can include that statement in the minutes without requiring the secretary to spend hours in a dictatorial fashion.
I would like that in the minutes, please.
I beg your pardon, I was a trustee, 1988 to 1992, BC, before Kerming. And the tradition was, in the minutes, there was a one-liner about Joe Smith spoke in favor of or opposed to. And that was the format under Supervisor Maury Breen from 1988 to 1992. So in essence and in spirit, I completely support Sandy Groth trustee's idea.
It was 35 years ago.
Nancy Conzelman was addressed at a public meeting by Brian Bentley, who is no longer a citizen, but was a very active, outspoken citizen, who chastised her, and I'm certainly, some of you remember this, because he called all the clerks in the area who stated citizen comments need to be reflective of the comments made by the citizens. And that policy was changed so that it was. I'd like to know when it was changed to something different.
So who's volunteering for a subcommittee? It can't be more than 4 people. I mean, more than 3. Jerry's got to be one of them.
I got to be
right?
one of them.
He should be.
Yeah.
Who else to resolve this? No other volunteers?
Yeah.
All right, can you two do it?
Okay, that's fine. And I think the solution is real simple.
Come back with a recommendation.
I'll come back to recommend, but I think it's real simple. Give me your written statement and I'll include it in the minutes. I've done it before and I'm happy to do it.
And we will make sure on the agendas, if that is the solution, that people understand anything they want to be reflected in the minutes, they are to hand the paper to the clerk to make sure it's reflected, but we'll meet.
I'm happy to do that. And the clerk's department, nor do I think anybody on this board has ever made an attempt to not disclose in an appropriate fashion what people have said. And so I welcome your comments. I think we will find a resolution to this, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
So if Laura's willing to volunteer, she could be part of
Absolutely,
it also.
yes.
Thank you, Laura, for volunteering.
She hasn't told us yet.
Yes, you will.
Okay, well, I wanted to call your attention to the fire department